Get out the insurance cards, get out the copays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by drroto.com.
All right, my friends, it's 9:15 on a Saturday night. It means it is time for any given entry. It's not Friday Night Lights. Who put that up there? Who's in charge of this stuff anyways? Oh, yeah, that's me. I forgot. Well, I am Johnny Danger. We're here live at drroto.com with any given entry, our single entry small field strategy session with myself, Justin from Just DFS, and Trevor from drroto.com. I missed last week, gentlemen. I'm sorry. I apologize.
All good. Dr. Roto stood in your steed and drove the ship just fine, and it was a good show, besides my internet issues.
Well, that's, it happens. It's all technology. Trevor, how was your week, sir?
It was okay. The Cardinal stacks helped my dumb Viking stacks, but once again, I gave my play of the week the kiss of death and Tyler Warren.
Oh, you did? I didn't hear it, so I didn't play it. So I'm glad.
Yeah, well, he had 43 yards in the first drive, and then they quit going to him in the second quarter, and he promptly got injured to start the second half and was out.
Unbelievable. I see you're wearing something that you eagerly awaited in the mail. Heck yep. Yeah, your Dalton Schultz, the Texas, the jersey, the good luck charm from your $100,000 win. Still awesome. Still amazing.
Yeah.
Well, this is what happened this week, Trevor. I got inspired. I had a dream last night. I won big, and most of the lineup was still in my head. I put it together, Justin. I sent it to you earlier today. That's the one. I put it in the Millie Maker, single entry, one bullet only. I'm going to be your next rich friend.
Let's hope so. I'm rooting for you.
Hopefully you're happy with 500K because I'm going to split it with you.
No, you're going to play the same lineup? I like it. That's okay. Listen, you go ahead. I couldn't think of anyone I'd rather split that money with, sir.
Well, thank you.
Because, I'm going back to the Cardinals. So I think they're in another good spot, and I'm going back to them. I'm sure we're going to talk about them because I'm looking at your sheet right now off to the side, my friend, and it looks like you also like the Cardinals again. So bringing up the cheat sheet, we're dialing it in here. Honestly, Justin, whether or not the lineup that we've put together on air has worked. Now, it has won us some money so far this year a couple of times. I still think we're almost in the positive from putting these lineups together. But the sheet really has been money if you put the right combinations together. And I think it's going to be money again this week for the most part here. Let's talk about the quarterbacks. Let's get started right away. 6,900, most expensive on the board, but also the highest owned on the board, but also the highest point projection on the board. Mr. Drake May. I love him every week. I can't remember a week that he's been on the board that I haven't put him in a lineup what I call naked with Drake May and nobody else. It's probably going to happen again this week. Trevor, are you a Drake May fan this week? Are you eating the chalk?
I'll have him in a few lineups, but I'm worried they're going to run right down Cincinnati's throat. But let's hope Cincinnati can give a little fight back here so that we can get some passing from May. May looks really good. They're really well coached. He scores 20 points just about every week. Usually mid-20s. So he's as solid as they come.
Absolutely solid. And I'm actually a little shocked. Well, not to jump ahead here, that Mr. Henderson's not on your list, Justin. After you were riding that horse a lot this season, he's not on the list. But Drake May is on this list. Why May, and why not Henderson?
Yeah, so matchup factors in quite a bit here. Drake May does have the best quarterback matchup according to my metrics. I won't flip over and look what the running game proposes, but super high total. I think it's like 50 points, 4 touchdowns, I think, for the team total. I think at least 3 of them go through, or at least I hope Henderson doesn't have 3 touchdowns again, but I guess it is possible. But it all really comes down to matchup, I think, and the funnel that's going to happen for New England is going to be more of a passing attack, and that's the way they meet their team total, I'm feeling.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about Drake May. I like the rest of you guys here. It's kind of funny. Caleb Williams, the Bears, number 1 in the NFC North, Trevor. I still don't like saying that. That's weird. Living in you being a Vikings fan, that's a strange thing to see. But he's in a good matchup, Trevor. I know, the Bears are the hated rivals, but I like it. I like Caleb Williams this week. I think he can go right back to Rome, even though he's not on the list. Another guy that you can play naked because he's got so many options that you can dump the ball off to.
Yeah, and he's obviously dual threat too. Sorry, Trevor, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I watched Caleb Williams in person last week. I thought he stunk, but I don't know. The Bears aren't going to be there long. They played beating nothing but garbage football teams up and down the field. That's all they've played is garbage. Once they play a good team, they're going to suck. Sorry if you're a Bears fan. Listen, maybe it is being a hater, but I hope they beat Chicago or Green Bay. So I'm not always hating on Chicago. So.
Right, but they are at home. They're playing Pittsburgh, who can give up huge points. I was actually supposed to be at this game, but that kind of fell through for me, sadly. So I will not be at that game. But it's going to be real cold in Chicago tomorrow, so I think that I'm okay with that.
Is it? I thought I read it was going to be 60.
But 60?
That's what I thought I read, but I could be wrong.
Okay, well, it was real cold this morning, so I was just going off that. I didn't actually look at it over there, but if it's going to be 60, I might call him back and say I'm coming. Justin, talk about Caleb Williams.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 2 good tight ends, 2 good running backs. We know Rome's a great receiver. Caleb Williams isn't, super talented and, some future Hall of Famer, at least not now. He's kind of up and down, has high games, low games. He can throw the ball to all those weapons that I mentioned. Their run game can get going with both of the running backs, and he can also run for 50 yards on one play at any given moment. So.
No, absolutely true. You don't need to be a good quarterback to put up good points. Justin Fields steps into that conversation. Jacoby Brissett finally, moved up in price a little bit. Still not enough for the amount they're going to throw the ball. I mean, they legit have no running game. And Brissett continues to be, low 5,000s, even after last week's explosion. I'm all on board. He was in the lineup I sent you earlier. I think you go right back to the well in Jacoby. Trevor, can you go right back to the well with Jacoby?
Well, sure you can. Jacksonville stops the run, so they're going to be throwing the football. Is he going to put up as big a numbers as he had the last 2 weeks because they were way behind against the Niners and Seattle? But he doesn't need to put up those big numbers. He just has to. I think he's almost a lock for 20 points in this game. I mean, he's going to throw the football, and he's got, it's a good condensed weapon tree. So you want to pair him with the other guys you're going to play.
Yeah, absolutely, Justin. I know that we like Brissett. Do you have points on your sheet? Do you have a projection points for him?
Yes, I do.
What do you think? What are you thinking?
Let me get back to it. So just shy of 20 points is the projections that I have it in average out at.
That's not bad at all. I like Brissett. I mean, you got Trey McBride. Ever since Brissett has taken over, McBride is worth every penny, even at 6,800 over on the tight end on the sheet here. I like him a lot. We got a question here. Rob is asking, will Jacksonville slow the play? Now that is a very good question. Jacksonville's run game has been absolutely phenomenal the last couple of weeks. Are you worried about that, Justin?
No, I mean, it's kind of baked in to some degree. A 47.5 team total, only 3 or 22.5 points, 3 touchdowns projected for Arizona. So, they're not already thinking that it's going to be a shootout. I mean, I don't really think that Jacksonville is a great team. I don't think that Trevor Lawrence is a great quarterback. Mm-hmm. It's always ugly. The pace of play may be down from average. Arizona's got a pretty high pace of play. I think it's fine and already baked into all we're considering when we think about is a player a good player or not.
I mean, Rob's not wrong. They're going to try to run the ball. They're going to try to slow the clock down, but Jacksonville's defense just isn't going to be able to stop them. So I think there's going to be plenty of action, plenty of plays. Trevor?
Yeah, I think, like I said, Jacksonville's a run-stopping team. Their pass defense, I mean, they let Mills go up and down the field on them. I can't see why they won't with Arizona.
Mm-hmm. And you got a little bit of joining in on Doc's thoughts here, Justin. I got some real bad situations on a team that I am 6-5. I am real close to being cut off the playoffs. It's a very stars and scrubs league. I'm in sixth place. I got to win. And I got Bo Nix on a bye. Jackson Dart was my second quarterback. He got ruled out. And the only thing on the waiver wire was Tyler Shuh. It was really that was it. It was him, and it was Tyrod Taylor, which I honestly think Tyrod could get some garbage time if Baltimore dominates that. We could see some garbage time Tyrod. But Doc said out of the 3 or 4 options that he didn't think that Tyler Shuh was a bad idea. And I actually am in on the Saints defense in DFS this week. So I don't mind it. I am a little surprised to see him on your sheet.
Yeah, I think it comes down to price. I mean, $4,400 for a quarterback who, hasn't had a ton of opportunity to show what he can do. But I don't know, it was like 17 points or something last week, 19 points last week. The offense is what it is. Likely going to be in throwing scenarios every time they get the ball, except for maybe the first drive or two. So, I mean, $4,400, but in season long is different. But when you put a dollar price on it in DFS at $4,400, if you need the salary, which I don't really know that you do this week, maybe you do, depending on how you build him. But $4,400 in a passing game script for him, pretty much 3.5 quarters. Decent weapons, and it's shown that he can get it done. So I don't think it's terrible. And he wasn't the top couple options, but he was number 4. So I put him up there, and I do believe he can produce, similar to Davis Mills a few weeks ago when Davis Mills got his first start. Had a great matchup. Tyler doesn't have that great of a matchup, but it's top third. And all those other things I mentioned, I think he can definitely pay off his salary and some.
Yeah, I mean, London's missing the game again, right?
Yes.
You got Kirk Cousins, who can't move in a pocket. I'm big on the Saints defense at 2,500, and I think that Shuck can keep him in the game. Chris Olave has been pretty good. We got a question here, Permar, who loves the show on Wednesday nights, right? Trevor, we got a good regular here in Permar. Why not Winston over Shuh? Do you like Winston over Shuh, Trevor? Shuh? I never know how to say his name. So.
Doc, I asked Doctor on Wednesday night. Doc told me it was Shuck. So
Shuck. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. I like Winston in a Millie Maker type tournament because I think there's more risk involved than Shuck. So that's the difference. I could see Winston doing 0. Or I can see him getting to 15 to 20 points, but I can see him doing 0. Where Shuck, I don't think you're going to see a 0. I think you'll get at least 10 points and possibly that 20-point game. I think Shuck's probably good for at least 15 points.
Interesting. Justin, any thoughts on Winston for you? Because I do kind of like Winston because, again, they're missing their running game, really. Winston's going to chuck it like Winston chucks it.
Yeah, so obviously I think all of us DFS players and football players in general like Winston's time on the field. He's entertaining off the field and also slings it. I was a little disappointed with what he was able to get done last week. Let's be honest, it's less than a point projection difference between the two. The matchup for Winston on paper is slightly worse than New Orleans passing game. A lower team total, but a higher game total. So for further reaches in GPPs and stuff, you could say that perhaps they keep this game closer. The game total is still 50.5, or even creeps higher, but they're able to keep the gap a little closer and they do perform a little more. So $200 more bucks is nothing. Less than a point projection, slightly worse matchup. That's why he got chosen over Winston for me, at least.
I got you. We got to remember here, guys, that we are, and this is really more for the listeners here, we are trying to put together a single entry show. We're trying to put together places that don't have as many questions. We're trying to put together more steady and safe lineups here. We're trying to, now that JJ McCarthy's not on the list, we feel better about it. But anyways, one more thing here. Rob says it's ugly, but could Bryce Young repeat what Brissett did last week? What do you think?
Being from North Carolina, I mean, Bryce Young doing well bodes, well for entertainment purposes. I certainly could see a way to him getting it done. He obviously is developing connections with his receivers. You know, two good running backs, arguably a really great one in Dowdle. So their offense, I think, is trending upward, and there's definitely a possibility that could happen.
So
Is
for
that
me
for
here,
season
guys,
long?
was that Trevor?
Is that for season long? Because he's not on the slate.
Yeah, because they're Monday night, but he could be talking about Monday night games. But just in general, the Cardinals played really into what the 49ers give up, and that is big plays up the middle with McBride. And they don't give up a ton to the running backs. So I just don't think it's the same situation for Carolina as it was with Arizona. Just when I expect my team to explode, Justin, they might just get beat Monday night. I don't know. But I feel like that I don't think Carolina is a good matchup for the 49ers. I think the 49ers should roll Monday night.
Yeah, you mentioned season long earlier. I had to pick them up as a defense, and I said trending in the right direction for Carolina, but also it was pretty obvious the Niners are trending in the right directions with injuries and that type of play. So I think hopefully it's going to be a tough sled for Carolina, and the Niners come out.
So there's a lot of big names that also have good matchups. Lamar's got a good matchup. Mahomes has got a good matchup. Dak and Hurts both could have a game that blows up maybe with Dallas and Philly. I'm a little shocked one of the bigger names is not on the list, Justin. Can you tell me what fell just off these top four?
Yeah, well, I can tell you, you've already mentioned it once, that fell off of this top four, but it isn't close, and that's J.J. McCarthy, which I'm very thankful for. But Tyrod Taylor, we mentioned, was a 4,300 cheap option. He just missed the cut. And then right behind him is Mahomes and Jackson. Both top 10 matchups, pretty good games. I think their price is what kept them off of that for me, whereas the pay-up option I put was Drake May. Similar price, much better matchup. So obviously Lamar and Mahomes are good quarterbacks, but I think price per dollar factored with matchup and opportunity makes them just miss the cut.
Trevor, any love for you for guys like Hurts, Goff, Lamar, Mahomes, any of the higher end guys?
Well, I'm going to be playing a lot of Mahomes tomorrow because I really think they're going to come out and really fire the ball around. But I do like Goff a little bit, but I can see them running a lot of touchdowns too. So
yeah, I like the Lions in a lot of different ways. If you're playing, say, a 20 max tournament, Trevor, and you can mix it, you take a core group and you just say, hey, I'm going to play Cardinals and Lions, and I'm going to mix and match them in 20 lineups. That's a great way to go. It's difficult in a single entry game to pick the right Lion that's going to go. You put Goff and Amon St. Brown in there, and then all of a sudden Gibbs gets 2 touchdowns, Monty gets 1. It's just they're difficult in single entry to nail down because there's so many people there that can get the job done. All right, let's move on to running backs. Unless Trevor, you got something else to say for?
Well, I was just going to say, and May's just been more consistent. I mean, he's consistently in the mid-20s.
Mm-hmm. Drake May is he's my guy. I'm in 3 dynasties and I have him in all 3. But he's just I just like him a lot. All right, let's move on to running backs. You got Bijan Robinson and Gibbs, 2 high-end guys that we know get the job done pretty much any time. Chase Brown is DFS Heroes number 1 optimal running back of the week, so I like that. This is the first time I've seen the name DeAndre Swift in my my research this week. I haven't seen DeAndre Swift pop at all. Justin, what am I missing here?
Yeah, so over the last few weeks, Swift and Mananga have been getting the job done to some degree. It has been a little bit split. $5,600 for Swift, it's on the low end of running backs on a given week. His projection is much higher than his rank is in dollar amounts. Top 3rd matchup, 3 and some change touchdown team total, and a small favorite. So, Mananga and Swift both are good. Just depends on which is going at that moment. But I I've been teetering on Swift and Monanga a few weeks now, and I got a couple of spots where things tick him just high enough to make him pay off, 4x, in some places. So he's definitely fifth on my sheet. I don't obviously put it in order. So he was right there on the bubble, but I thought it was worth putting in there.
Fair enough. And Trevor, I'll get your feelings on Swift too. But I said in pre-show when I pulled up your sheet, Justin, that Emmanuel Wilson is, in my article, the worst chalk of the week, and it's a total fade for me. Perhaps you see something I don't see. Trevor, what are your feelings on Swift and Wilson?
Well, Swift made my article this week, so I think Pittsburgh's pass defense is slowly getting better, but you can run on them. And the Chicago Bears offensive line, let's look at the Chargers a couple of weeks ago, ran right over them. And you're going to see, I think, Swift run right over them tomorrow. As much as I just kind of denounced the Bears a minute ago, I'm on the Swift bandwagon. So it's not all bad. I'm not always hating on the Bears. So I really like Swift tomorrow. He's going to be in a lot of my lineups. Emmanuel Wilson, I won't play him. I'm not going to play him at all tomorrow. I don't think Green Bay can push the Vikings line around, especially when they have their Jenkins is out for the season. I don't think they're going to push the Vikings around. If you watch the Vikings get pushed around, it's usually by these bigger, high-powered offensive lines. Green Bay don't have that.
So I'm going to let you defend Wilson here in a minute. It's your sheet, Justin. But let me ask you a question. Late week questionable tag popped up on Kenneth Walker. Let's say we think Kenneth Walker maybe is limited. Does Charbonnet push up over an Emmanuel Wilson for you? Because I really like that game. And I think if there's any kind of slowdown with Kenneth Walker, Charbonnet is kind of a lock at that price.
I agree with that. Obviously, it almost feels like with Seattle, if any time either of those two are missing, the other one is a great play. So if Walker does not play, Charbonnet would certainly leapfrog most of these guys in this list, and he would be listed here.
Okay, fair enough. So tell me about Wilson. Is this just a pure data play, or do you have a feeling? Do you have a gut feeling here?
So I'll be honest, I don't really have many gut feelings when it comes to what my sheet spits out and what I put on this cheat sheet.
Smart.
It is all data related. I've taken in a lot more content to try and be able to provide better communication over these last few weeks, and I feel like it's been to a detriment to a degree. So I'm trying to keep any bias out of it. But to defend, if Jacob sits, Emmanuel Wilson gets more run. He was serviceable last week. It is a middle of the road matchup, but they are almost a touchdown favorite, I believe. Yeah, with over 3 touchdowns. If he's toting the rock for 70% of the running back carries, I feel like he's going to fall into the end zone. So if Jacob sits, Emmanuel Wilson should get most of the work in a game against Minnesota where McCarthy better not be able to move the ball down the field. Therefore, more offensive opportunities, more run game, more production from a cheap running back who's not priced as a starting running back.
So let me ask you a question. Did Taylor price himself out?
Yes, but just barely. I mean, $10,000 is a lot of money.
So much.
Yeah, we haven't really seen Taylor on the main slate. I feel like it's 2 weeks in a row because of a bye and then a international game, or an island game. Maybe I'm wrong, but regardless, 10K is a lot. He doesn't really catch a ton of passes, although he is capable of scoring 2-3 touchdowns. Middle of the road matchup again. Not sure that really matters for him, but he is not in the top few, and therefore he did not make the sheet. So the answer is yes. He seems to be priced out of making the cheat sheet, at least for now.
I mean, that's almost 1/5 of our salary, Trevor. And you got Danny Dimes beat up a little bit. Kansas City's defense been playing really well. It feels like they can kind of key in on Taylor. Are you in or out on Taylor this week, Trevor?
Out. Definitely out. Kansas City plays the run really well. I think they're going to have to be – I think they'll be playing from behind. That's just my feeling on the game. I think they're going to be throwing a lot.
Yeah, I mean, the ownership on him, we don't care too much on single entry, but if you're looking at Millie Maker, the ownership is down enough. And, he's one of the few people that can score 40 points. So I'm not out on him if I'm playing 150 for big tournaments, but I'm out on him in this situation. All right, what else is there? Let's see. Who else we got on there? I know we have Gibbs on there, but in a game they should blow out. Any love for Monty if you find yourself needing to pay down?
I will go. Yeah, so there is love for Monty. There's been love for Monty for me for a few weeks now, and it hasn't really paid off. I'm pretty sure I did see some beat writer or some coach interview where they stated that they wanted to try and get Monty more touches. I've thought it was going to happen a few times, and he was going to outperform Gibbs, and it really hasn't happened for the most part. So Gibbs made it, and David Montgomery did not.
For sure. And Trevor, here's my problem, right, is that you've got Dart out. The Giants can't put up much of a fight, to be honest, against Detroit in my mind. And they're at home. They got beat last week. They're going to make another statement game like they did against Washington. They could be up 30 to 6 at halftime, and I don't know what to make of this. Like, I really want to play these Lions players. You got Amon-Ra and your wide receiver. The first lineup I built has Gibbs and Amon-Ra. But what happens if they get Monty scores a goal line touchdown and they get a defensive pick six, Trevor? Is this a dangerous place to play the Lions?
Well, the one thing, Doc even mentioned this is, the Lions, they usually put the pedal to the metal. When they're beating a team, they'll keep putting the boots to them. They got a Thursday game coming. If they get a big lead, are they going to be more apt to rest players? But I'm not going to worry about all that. Gibbs is a great play. He's the most explosive player on the field. If you want to play Montgomery, I think you're better off switching to a single entry on the FanDuel side, because he's a much better FanDuel play than he is a DraftKings play because of the half PPR, and touchdowns mean a little bit more over there. I think Monty is going to score tomorrow. I think Gibbs is going to score tomorrow. I think there's going to be 4 or 5 touchdowns. I mean, I'm expecting them to score 35 plus points. So will they rest players? I don't know. Hopefully the Giants can build a lead.
Let's just transition over into wide receivers and keep this conversation going on Amon-Ra St. Brown. You got Laporta out. I think that actually helps Amon-Ra because he runs those kind of short, quick across the middle routes. And without Laporta, you might see a few more of those. Brock Wright is not totally incompetent. He's actually a great GPP salary saver on the other side. But Jameson Williams has been used a lot recently. I'm actually a little surprised not to see both of those guys on the list. Jackson Smith, I mean, gosh, guys, I mean, I saw a comment in one of my Facebook groups about fantasy football. Like, what tier does he sit in? Is he ready to be talked about in Chase and Jefferson and all those guys? And I literally commented, he's above those guys right now. He's getting all the opportunities. You take the touchdowns away. I think he's the number 1 fantasy player in football now that Christian McCaffrey started scoring touchdowns. When you take away touchdown scoring, I mean, he's unstoppable, Justin.
Yeah, he definitely is. And looking at this, almost 2 touchdown favorites. The only concern is does Seattle get up enough where they don't have to use him? And if that happens, he's got you 22 points at that point, but he's not going to get to 30 plus, which he's certainly capable of. That's really the only fear.
I mean, I love Trevor. Correct me if I'm wrong, but anyone against Tennessee any day of the week.
Yeah, JSN. I mean, what can you say? He's always 30 points in the making. You just hope Tennessee can make it a fight so that he's on the field a lot more, because we have seen Seattle come. When they were way ahead against Arizona, they just shut down the passing game in the second half. Washington, they start shutting down that passing game. This run. So. But
yeah, I'm not worried about Detroit doing that. I think that you're right, pedal to the metal with those guys, especially after they lose. I wouldn't be surprised to see the starters run that score up into the 40s But I don't think Seattle does that. So I love Jackson Smith and Jigba, and 9K is a lot to pay for a guy who might not play a quarter and a half.
Well, if they're up by that much, you got to figure he's a big part of it.
That's what we hope, right? That's what we hope.
Yeah.
But Justin, you've got it in front of you. I know you do. What's his average score per week without touchdowns? It's got to be over 20.
Yeah, so I'm going to long-winded answer that so I can get it pulled up. I do typically have that tab pulled open. I factor it in a lot to, article information so that I can make sure that I give something other than what everybody else spits out at you. But I have it here, fantasy points per game minus touchdown. He's still number 2, but by almost a full point, actually. But Jackson Smith and Jigba is number 2 with 18.89 fantasy points per game if he never scored a touchdown.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Is it still CMC number 1?
It is, yeah. And I just think, obviously, the Niners have had a lot more competitive games or games from behind, for that matter. And, yes, McCaffrey does have tons of touchdowns, but he still gets both rushing and receiving, whereas Njigba finds himself up a lot and only catches the ball. So I think that's the only reason.
You're right. So I really love the rest of your list. I gave you a little help for putting a jet on it in the pregame show, but the pre-show conversation. But you know what, Tyrod, I blanked on his name. Tyrod Taylor throwing the ball. It's better than Justin Fields throwing the ball for the wide receivers, at least. Tyrod and Winston are kind of similar. They just chuck the ball. And AD Mitchell can get open. But I love the rest of this. I mean, I think a few weeks back, we could all agree DK Metcalf was dead to us. But this is a good spot for him. I mean, Wan'Dale Robinson, the Giants are going to have to throw a lot. They're going to be throwing the entire game. I like Devonta Smith. I like A.J. Brown. Is this the game that A.J. Brown finally gets his squeaky wheel answered by the coach? But, yeah, Devonta Smith's the play there. Justin, why Smith over Brown for you?
Yeah, so I do know that there is the squeaky wheel, and I've seen it happen a ton. But he's squeaked a lot this year and hasn't gotten, hadn't produced and answered the call of the squeaky wheel getting the grease. But they both have good matchups, obviously. I hesitated on which one to put in this because I wasn't 100% sure. Obviously, Devonta Smith's been the more producing person recently, and I think that there's no reason to think that trend continues. And he's $300 cheaper, which isn't a ton, but if you're trying to split hairs over a great wide receiver or receiving scenario with 2 talented guys, go with the guy who's cheaper and who's shown to get it done more consistently in the short term previously.
And Trevor, I can agree with that. The other problem, and I think we've said this a bunch of times this year, Trevor, is that A.J. Brown squawks most when he's not involved. And when he's been not involved, they've won most of those games.
Well, the reason why I like Smith over A.J. Brown, and I do like A.J. Brown somewhat, is Smith is really good against zone coverage. Dallas plays mostly zone. Credit Doc for that because he texted me about that. A.J. Brown, the one thing I noticed about him watching all the Philadelphia Eagle games, he can scream and complain all he wants. He's not getting open. It's not like he's open and they're not throwing the football. Get open and you'll get the ball. I seen him complain he had 11 targets. He just wasn't open. I mean, what are you going to do? The one guy I love seeing on your list, though, and I text Doc this, I said, if Brian Thomas Jr. is out, I love Jacoby Myers this week.
Love Jacoby Myers.
Because Myers, you could see that twinkle in Trevor Lawrence's eyes towards Myers. They're starting to build a connection. You could see it in the second half of that game, and he's actively looking for Myers to be open. He's the first look. I think against this Cardinals game, he's going to get, I think he's going to get 6-7 catches. Hopefully, he gets a touchdown.
So, Justin, you saw my lineup. It's got Myers in it. On the other side, it's got Michael Wilson back in it again. These are 2 number 1 wide receivers in the mid to high 4,000s. It was hard not to put them in my lineup. I'm actually a little surprised you didn't go back to a Wilson or, what I would have probably put as Wilson / Dortch. I think they're both fine. I think they're the same play.
Yeah. I didn't play Wilson a ton last week. I said I didn't have much gut or instinct in my data. It was just strictly statistics, and that is still true. But he did not make the cut, and he's not super close to the bubble. I mean, he's not far away. But like you mentioned, a high-paced offense with no run game, the number one receiver on the team. Well, number one wide receiver, maybe not the number one pass catcher for $4,800. I mean, can you go wrong? He just wasn't close enough to warrant making this short list. And I try to make it a short list because, I see a lot of people across the industry and have for years. They'll just name a bunch of people. And then you're like, well, geez, So I try to keep it as narrow as possible without eliminating anything that needs to be up there. But Dortch still got it done. I read or watched something last week that said that he was going to be the guy, and the sheet didn't say that, and I deviated, and it didn't really help me out a ton. But Metcalf, I almost didn't put him up there, even though he was in the sheet, just because he burned me.
He hurt us.
Yeah, burned me bad. And then Myers, you mentioned the Twinkle and Lawrence is out. There's one of those in Myers too, coming to a team, fresh start. That he feels like has got a better offense than he did in Vegas. I hope that something starts to materialize there with him too, and I think that it certainly could.
So most of your list here is right in line. I'm over at DFS Hero. Our partner's over there. Tom's a great guy. It's a great service. Get over there and use promo code. I think it's Doc over there for 20% off. Check out DFS Hero, one of the best optimizers simulators out there. Looking at their optimal wide receivers, Michael Wilson is number 6 on the list, and I gotta go down to like 40 to find Greg Dortch this week. Jacoby Myers is number 9 on the list, and then a whole bunch of guys that we're familiar with: St. Brown, JSN, Devonta Smith, Wandale Robinson, Rashee Rice. These guys are all here. One of their top guys on the list, and I see suspiciously missing from your list here, is T. Higgins. Why no T. Higgins, Justin?
Obviously, early this week when I was looking at contests and lineups before doing any data, I was like, okay, I mean, you got to consider him with the injury and whatnot. Pretty decent matchup, kind of a high price. I mean, he's definitely looked like to have a pretty good rapport and been getting targets, catching touchdowns. He is one of those guys that just barely missed the cut, but I certainly see that, why you would bring that up and want to play him.
Well, yeah, you got no chase, Trevor. Is T a lock for you? Are you interested in super cheap Yosevich there?
I'm more interested probably in Yosevich, but that's more of a GPP play. You can play T. Higgins. I just think that the Patriots can kind of take him away. And if Burrow was playing, I'd be a lot more interested in T. Higgins. Burrow's not. I think Flacco, he's just wearing out. So, yeah, I'm not into that. And then back to DK Metcalf. Now, we don't know if Rodgers is going to play tomorrow. This question, but I think he's going to play. I almost prefer if Mason Rudolph starts instead. And I prefer DK Metcalf and Rudolph plays. For some reason, because I feel like Rodgers wants to always look at the tight end first.
Yeah,
but this is a game they got to get Metcalf involved against that Bears secondary.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Rodgers probably plays. It's an injury to his non-throwing hand, so I think that he's going to power through and play this game personally.
Is Jalen Johnson back, the defensive back from the Bears, because he's a pretty good corner, and I think that they were talking about having him back. Is that his name, Jalen Johnson?
Yes, you're correct. I'm trying to find out some of the latest info on that question.
Because he's a pretty good corner. Now that would really Jalen Johnson. Yeah, Jalen Johnson. That would really make a damper on me on Metcalf. But I don't know if he's starting tomorrow or not. But I do like the rest of the list. But not as far as T. Higgins goes. You can play him if you really want to play him. I wouldn't fault you for playing him. I'm just not going to play much of him.
Well, I think T. Higgins, we don't worry about too much here, but he's going to be very owned because people are just going to look at that and go, Chase is out, I'll play Higgins.
Yeah.
But honestly, Higgins is one of those guys that is priced up even when Chase is playing.
Yep.
So Replay Reel says he's out. I think he's talking about your defensive guy there.
Okay, good.
Boom.
I mean, I don't mean a guy to be hurt, but I mean, if you're going to play, I like DK Metcalf even more now that I know he's not back.
All right, Trevor loves DK. Don't play him. Got it.
Yeah.
I
will
didn't
have
say
a
I
hard
love
time.
him. I like him more.
Make a note.
I
Here.
really,
Hey, Trevor, in your 150, who's your lock so I can take him out of mine?
It's DeAndre Swift.
All right, Swift eliminated. All right, got it. All right, just pulling your chain, buddy. Just pulling your chain. All right, let's get over to the tight ends, my friends.
Hey, last week I had on the GPP show, I had Christian Watson go for 2 touchdowns.
I like Watson. My friend. Watson's a good play. I like Watson a lot. I hope so because I have him on a couple of teams.
Well, I hope he gets nothing because I want.
I'm going to tell you this, Trevor. I am sitting at like 6-5 and 5-6 in every freaking league this year. I'm in 12 leagues and I'm just like right in the middle. In every single one of them, I'm just like clutching to the playoffs and as many as I can. All right, let's get over to the tight end. I've written this article about 3 weeks in a row, Trevor, where I just said, just play McBride and forget about the rest. Are we getting to a point now where his price point stops that? I mean, 6,800 is a lot for a tight end, but it's not. I mean, take McBride and put him over in the category with the wide receivers. And is that production not enough for $6,800? I think it is. I think it's McBride. If you got the money for him, just put him in.
I'd almost claim he was near 8,000 the way he's playing because he gives you such an advantage on the tight ends, especially with Kittle not on the slate. Kittle's been able to keep up with him the last couple of weeks somewhat. I mean, he was only a little bit behind. But, McBride, he's almost a lock button play. Jacksonville stinks against a tight end. With Brissett, Brissett and McBride have been in the Millie Maker tournaments winners like 3 weeks in a row. McBride's been in it like 4 weeks since Brissett's been there, because I know Brissett didn't score as many points as Josh Allen, and I think there was pathways to win the Millie Maker with Josh Allen last week, but it was Brissett that was in it because of the price point and who else that you could afford. So I don't see it. Three weeks in a row they've done it. So, and Jacksonville is a good matchup.
I'm hoping for. Justin saw my lineup. I'm not changing it this week. I'm not going to tinker. All right. I love it. Justin, you got all the high-priced guys. You got 1, 2, 3, 4 of the 1, 2, 3, 4 highest-priced guys all in there. I love them all. The lineup I shared with you was McBride and Kelsey and double tight end. So I'm in. I'm paying up not once but twice in the same lineup for a tight end. Is it just pay up for tight end week?
Yeah, it is. And I typically like to pay down, but that has not been really the trend. I mean, the first few weeks, you had some cheap guys getting 15, 20 points at 3K, Juwan Johnson, Fannin, but really it's been a domination of high-priced tight ends that are getting you 25-plus points, whether it was Bowers a few weeks ago or Kelsey earlier in the season or obviously McBride the last few weeks. I mean, you got to be able to pivot when necessary. And the trend forever has kind of been very rarely do you pay up for tight end. But this year, I think, has been more often than not, you're spending some money to get the tight end, and they were paying off. And it's hard for me to swallow because it's never been a strategy of mine. And when I've tried it, it's failed tremendously. And all those high-priced guys have great matchups and consistency, and all the low price guys that I looked at, except for one, didn't have great matchups. And obviously you see Hunter Henry is the cheaper $3,900. Ain't really too cheap for a tight end. I find that hard to want to trust, but the best matchup second is Arizona. Henry burned me a few weeks ago. Drake May slinging the ball. So, I mean, you kind of got to just erase that from your mind and play Henry if you're looking for a cheap option. But I don't really see a reason why you can't pay for McBride yet again. I feel a little dirty with Brissett. If you played Wilson this week, I wouldn't fault you. Playing McBride this week, I very well could do it. It just feels a little dirty. It's like you're chasing, and how long before you, or how late do I have to be to get on this train before I catch it on the dud week? I don't think it's this week because of the matchups and all that are still there. Sure. But I feel like it could happen. I mean, pretty soon.
I mean, Justin, we all kind of thought we were chasing points last week, and suddenly the big winner was Brissett with Wilson, with McBride, and Dortch. All four together ended up being the big winner. So totally strange. Can I ask you a question, sir?
Yes.
If you type in the word Brock into your search when you're putting in your DK lineup and you accidentally select Wright instead of Bowers, are you still okay kind of this week? Because I kind of like Brock Wright. I mean, not in the single entry probably, because but I kind of like Brock Wright. Did he any love for him at all? Because I think everybody's all over the big names in Detroit for this matchup, but Laporta's out. Brock Wright's like what, 2,900, 3,000?
Yeah, he's 3K. Obviously, super high team total, super high game total. The matchups, middle of the road. To answer your question, no, because you would save yourself 3K, and you would love the rest of your lineup, and you'd be like, "Oh, I made that mistake, but I like it, so I'm just going to keep it." But yeah, high-powered offense, very good quarterback. I mean, he's a good tight end. I don't know exactly what adjective you used to describe him earlier, but I would agree that Brock Wright has the potential to be a serviceable starting tight end on a lot of other teams over who they currently have. So yeah, you wouldn't be dead if you typed in Brock and clicked on Brock Wright instead of Brock Bowers.
Trevor, how about you? Any love for Brock Wright?
Well, he crossed my mind, when I look at the lower price tight ends, but more of a GPP play, like you said.
Sure. Yeah.
Another GPP guy I like, this guy always seems to get a lot of targets when Chase is out, is Mike Gesicki's back from Cleveland for Cincinnati. He's back this week. He wouldn't be in this type of deal, but there, like he said, like Justin said, there's no reason to pay that down for what we're doing for a tight end. I think we just got to ride McBride until it fizzles out. It's going to start fizzling out. I just took a sneak peek at the schedule. I mean, he's going to still have good games, but he's not going to be getting these 30.25 plus point games. They're going to come to an end, but hopefully we have one more in them.
Well, Trevor, the first lineup I built, 5 players in that game. 5. 2 Jackson.
You must have ETN as well?
3. No, Tootin.
Well, you have Tootin.
I got Tootin. I think Tootin's going to outscore ETN, and he saves you a lot of money. A lot of money, sir. A lot. He's the only guy in that whole lineup where it's really questionable. Everybody else makes a lot of sense.
I feel like
pretty cheap, yeah.
I feel like the week after you told me about your fetish with playing afternoon players, it didn't pan out. But every week since then, it has had smash games on it.
So far, so good.
Yeah. So obviously, Philly and Dallas, that could be a carnival. Jacksonville, Arizona, there's obviously plays we mentioned we love there. Sanders getting the start, who knows what that could be like, and then New Orleans and Atlanta. So, it does kind of bode well for you yet again.
Oh, I like it a lot. All right, my friends, we've reached that point in the show. It is time to build our lineup. Are we ready?
Ready as I can be.
Alrighty. All right, look, man, I mean, I don't think that we really locked in on one single player that we liked to start off with. So, Justin, I'm going to make you make the first selection today. What you got?
Yeah, so I'll skip over a few names just because I know that we're not super locked in on it as a group. I think we are this one, and that's Devonta Smith at wide receiver.
I like Devonta Smith. I like Devonta Smith. It's a light game, and I enjoy it. Trevor, where are we going next?
We're going to go with DeAndre Swift.
What? See, I like the play, but I knew you didn't. But I'm glad he went there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate the play at all. I just hadn't even really considered him. I mean, I do my small amount of research, which I use just sim sites, and both of my 2 sim sites didn't really care for him.
Got it.
But that's fine. That's fine. I am on the Trey McBride bandwagon. I played him every week that he's scored over 20 points so far. And I'm feeling like that 25 to 30 point game is going to continue one more week. So I'm locking Trey McBride in. We haven't saved a ton of money yet, but we played kind of two middle-aged guys. So. Justin, back to you, sir.
Yeah, I'm going to do you a favor, and I'm going to save you some more money and have some action on the other side of that game with Jacoby Myers.
That's who I would have picked.
Yep,
that's who I was going to pick.
I like Myers a lot. I dig it. All right, let's see. Who are we back to? Trevor?
Boy, it's getting tough now. We got to see. We got 54-60. I'm looking at the running backs. I think I'm going to like Chase Brown. I think he's going to catch a lot of passes at home here. I think he's going to score 20 points.
I think I mentioned it earlier. DFS Hero, our friends over there, have Chase Brown as the number one optimal DFS running back for the week. So in my simulations, I trust. And Trevor, we trust. I have noted that, on paper, New England's rush defense is really good. But I think they're going to have to get Brown a lot more involved without Chase out there. So
should we pick a defense? Try to find a defense first?
Yeah, I was going to. That's where I was heading. So on the cheap end, I've already made it clear that I like the Saints at 2,500. I think you got Kirk Cousins there. You're missing London. They're in New Orleans. I think that's a good play if we want to save money. If we're looking higher than that, there's a few that I like, but I'm gonna let Justin talk a little bit about defenses. I know your sheet does some defensive work. What does your sheet say about defenses?
Yeah, it does. It loves Seattle if you're paying up at 4K.
Mm-hmm. Of course, anyone against Tennessee? I think Tennessee. I'd have to really look it up, but I think defenses against Tennessee are averaging over 10 points.
Yeah,
and that's great.
And I don't think Seattle is just any defense. Obviously, they are a really good defense, and I'm not advocating to play them. Maybe if we find salary, but I'm just stating what the sheet shows. Seattle's the pay up option. Cleveland Browns at 2,900. We know they got a pretty good D. Not really sure what they're going to be doing on the offensive side of the ball, which could dictate some things, but Vegas gives up tons of points to defenses too. And then the third option is the Saints at 2,500. So, if you wanted to go there until we get a little further in and find out if we got extra money that we want to spend, I'm perfectly fine playing New Orleans at home against Atlanta.
Now, Trevor, I know your theory is usually who pressures the quarterback most because sacks are easier points to, predict than anything else. What do you think about defenses?
Well, my initial inclination is the Browns because they can't protect. But I think we should go with the Saints because they are a little bit cheaper and just see where the lineup goes.
Sure.
We need to go up to the Browns. I think the Browns will outscore the Saints, but I don't know if they're the better play at price. You know what I mean? So
sure. Well, I know it was my turn to pick, and I was leaning to go to defense, and I was going to suggest the Saints. I just wanted to get some feedback from you two. I'm kind of glad that we all like them, and we can always go up. I mean, I'm with you. If you can afford 4,000 in your lineups this week, guys, I mean, Seattle might score 20 points on defense. I mean, just throwing it out there. All right, Justin, back to you. Do you want to try to pick our quarterback? Do you want to pick our last wide receiver? What are you thinking?
One more thing about Seattle's defense is they return kicks.
Yep.
They return punts and kicks too. Okay, sorry about that.
No problem.
We got 6,200 for a wide receiver, a flex, and a quarterback each. We're doing good here.
Yep. So I think that the right thing to do is to pair Brissett with McBride, so we got a clearer picture what wide receiver and flex dollars are going to look like, and then just like defense, we can kind of play with quarterback. Only one I consider going up to, and I think everybody would be on the same page, would be Drake May if we had the luxury of doing so. I'm not sure we will, but I would say let's get Brissett in the quarterback, and then we got a clear image of wide receiver flex and can make decisions better.
Yeah, I like it a lot. So, Trevor, let's talk this out, okay? We got a wide receiver. We got a flex to go. We could save some money at wide receiver and play one of these guys like a DK. We could play a Wandell that we think is going to get probably 12 to 14 dollars. And then we could pay up and get a bigger running back, or what are you feeling here? Yeah, I know you said you love Mahomes. Do you also love Rashee Rice this week?
I do like Rice a lot. I think we got to get a boom guy, a guy that can score 30 points. I like a lot of our players. Are they going to be 30-point guys? I think McBride can be. Smith definitely can be. Myers probably not a 30-point guy, probably a 20-point guy. Swift probably in the 20s. Brown is a 20-point guy. I think we have to find a 30-point guy where there's Gibbs, St. Brown, Rice. I kind of, we don't have anybody from that Detroit offense. I kind of worry about that a little bit. I think St. Brown is the safest play. I do like Rice. I think St. Brown's safest. St. Brown scores at home every time. I think he scored a touchdown at home in every game. I'm pretty sure he's going to probably score at home. I would go with St. Brown to see where we're at.
I like St. Brown a lot. That leaves us 5,300 in the flex. We can move some people around here. That takes us to people like Monty and running back, Wilson, who's on your list here at running back. We can get Metcalf in. Let's see. What else we got here?
Yeah, I mean,
you can do double tight end and throw Kelsey in there.
Let me do a little sorting here.
Yeah, so if we want to stay true to the sheet, we're at Metcalf, Wilson, or Kelsey, really.
Yeah, I mean, so I agree with Metcalf or Wilson. Wilson's got a caveat to him that people will need to pay attention to. If for some reason Jacobs actually ends up playing, Emmanuel Wilson's not somebody you want to have in your lineup. We could also go way down to AD Mitchell and then make some adjustments at quarterback or defense. But I think those are really two options. Emmanuel Wilson with the caveat, or DK Metcalf, or we go way down and figure it out from there.
I mean, I wouldn't look. I'm just going to advocate one time. Travis Kelsey playing double tight end here. Indianapolis is real bad against the tight end, like real bad. And Mahomes and Kelsey have had some magic reignited over the last 4 or 5 games. So I don't know that we can rule Travis Kelsey out, but I would be open to it. I'd be open to swapping, swapping one of these guys like a Myers to AD Mitchell and just seeing what happens.
I could buy that.
I mean, that takes our run back away from our Cardinals.
Which I don't think is something that you have to force, especially in single injuries.
I really like Myers, though, boy.
68. If we make that change, in theory, $6,800 is what we left. Is something make us excited there? And I'm looking, and I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, Henderson, but he's not on the list.
Let you get to Henderson, and why no love for Henderson this week, Justin? All those weeks of Henderson love, not on the list.
Yeah, regression is coming for him. He's riding too high.
Let's see.
Well, Cincinnati's so bad against the run, but Stevenson's playing tomorrow. If Stevenson was out, I would say Henderson would shoot up the list. Is Stevenson for sure playing?
I'm pretty certain of it.
He is listed as personal limited in practice, but he was full on Friday, so he's going to be playing.
I don't mind. I mean, if you got double tight ends and you tell somebody it's McBride and Kelsey, that sounds.
This is kind of
bored with that and keeping Myers.
Yeah, right. I went back to Myers for Mitchell, and I mean, I think $300 on the table. That's probably not a bad choice. I do think. Well, you wouldn't do a late swap anyway, even if you swap Kelsey to tight end and McBride to the flex, but.
If you look at Kelsey's last 3 games, 24, 12.6, 21.9. I mean, he's getting the usage. This is a must-win game for the Chiefs. They have to win.
I think you've talked me into it, Danger. I'm down with the double tight end with Kelsey and McBride.
And, I really didn't want to go off of Myers. I mean, I don't want to hog on it, but Myers, I think you're going to get a 10 points. 80 Mitchell could get zip.
Yeah, this is true.
He could. So what's funny here, guys, is that I actually wrote in the in Danger's DFS ownership pivot article, which is obviously for GPP 150 lineup, more stuff. I said in my tipsy pick for running backs of the week, Ramondre Stevenson, in case he plays, of course. And then I wrote in quotation or in the parentheses, just when you think a guy is locked in, somehow Stevenson returned. If you're a Star Wars fan, you know where that came from.
And even before Stevenson went out for injury, what do I know? But I was like, they have it out for Henderson, man. They would just not let him get an opportunity. And then when he did, he made the best of it. I would not be surprised for him to take a side seat, maybe not a back seat, but.
Right. NFL coaches rarely do what we think they're going to do. Let's just put it that way.
I don't trust Vrabel in this situation. Henderson does look like the best back. He's definitely the fastest guy. The one thing about, like Doc said, that Stevenson will probably get the ball near the goal line if he's playing. When you're playing Henderson, you just got to hope he scores from 25 yards out. Now, he's going to be in a lot of GPP lineups, but I don't think he needs to be in this type of lineup. Danger, you're not going to like who my tipsy pick would be for tomorrow. When you're playing GPP, it's Aaron Jones for the Vikes.
I don't mind Aaron Jones. He made my article as a pivot.
Oh, because the Vikings center, their starting center is back tomorrow. They've not had their 5 guys on the offensive line the whole year. I think they can push Green Bay a little bit. I think Green Bay is going to win the game, so I'm not trying to be a hater on Green Bay like I usually am. But I think Jones had 19, 20 touches last week. I really like him as a GPP play.
Yeah, no, I believe, let me double check, but I'm pretty sure he made the article. Mid-range. Yeah, we talked about him a little bit. He didn't actually make the picks, but I talked about him. Yeah, we like him. We like him a lot. All right, look, we've got it all squared away. We are at 1 hour and 1 minute. Let's run this down. We got Jacoby Brissett. We got DeAndre Swift, Chase Brown, Devontae Smith, Amon-Ra St. Brown. We got Jacoby Myers. We're playing double tight end with Kelsey and McBride, and we are allowing the Saints defense to rough up Kirk Cousins, so we hope.
Love it.
Yes.
Like it. All right. I love it, guys. I really appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with me. I will be here Saturday next week. I am getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning to head to a cruise with my family. So I won't have the trusty beer in my hand, but I'll be here with us next Saturday night. I'm Johnny Danger. With me is Trust in Trevor and Justin from Just DFS. And wait, Justin, I almost went a whole show without mentioning that I won the Danger League last week, and you took second to last place. I just wanted to throw that out there.
I was horrible too.
I wanted to say that.
It's been a rough few weeks for me, and this 4-peat is looming over my head very hardcore. I am happy for your win, but I hope it's short-lived and I start charging back and have an incredible end to this season, with me ending with the 4-peat after taking the first place trophy, one on last week of the year.
Well, I tell you what, it did, it took me from like 35th to like 32nd place out of 40. So, it was a moral victory more than anything.
Well, you put some cash in your pocket too. So
I did. I put some cash back in my pocket, which is always appreciated. All right, guys, find all of us at drroto.com's Discord. You can find Justin in his own Discord as well. It's in the top left corner of his cheat sheet up there where it says Just D 2.0. You can search it. You can find it. It's free. We can chat in there too. And don't forget your 10% off at drroto.com. Actually, Trevor, what there's a free one going on right now, right? 5 days of free?
Yeah. What's the promo code? Free?
I forget. No. Victory? I've already forgotten. I don't know. I've already forgotten. There's a free one out there. Shoot us a text later. Send an info to drroto.com. There's a contact us on there. Figure it out. And we'll send it over to you. But there is a 5 days for free over at drroto.com going on right now. I should have known that before I got on here. I apologize. Terrible radio. Doc, I hope you're
Friday Night Lights.
Yes, Friday Night Lights. They'll talk about it on there. All right, everybody. We'll see you next week. Let's get some green screens. Good luck to you out there.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. And until the next visit, be well and take care.